Today on the show, we're going to talk about the new 2025 Toyota 4Runner. Right, 25, man. I just feel like we got to 24 and we're already into the future. So give your thoughts and opinions in the comments below because I'm going to want you to play along with this one here because, well, as of right now, everything's speculation. I know our friends over at TFL, they claim to have some inside information, which I don't doubt. They seem to be pretty connected with the Toyota brand. Kind of confirm some things, or in their mind, confirm these things with an email back and forth. I want to go through and talk about my opinions of this because I think this is pretty low-hanging fruit. Our friend over at TRD John just gave some good opinions of it, and I'm sure your favorite channel you like to watch, hopefully it's this one here. Smash that like button. Hopefully you kind of agree or disagree with me, and we'll play along at home. So I want to bring this up. This is the old Googles, man. And as you can see here, there's all kinds of people doing AI versions of what they think, from the crazy ones that kind of look like this one right here, which just looks like I don't know what they did on that. I mean, that snorkel looks awful. Your old clickbait channels here who just shove a CEO in front of the image there, Photoshop that, and yeah, they're not going to tell you anything there. To what I think are more reasonable looking images, like this one here. This is from 4Runner 6G. I've been watching what they're talking about over there, and it's not super active yet, but it's about to be because, well, news is starting to kind of wind out about there. And I do think this is a kind of a closer version of what we're going to see with this, because I think Toyota doesn't want to go straight too far. We want to make this a generational change. You know, you want to slowly move the buyers, not just suddenly we're wiping the slate clean and suddenly it looks like a Ferrari of some type, you know, that they just go crazy with it. They're not going to, this is a bread butter cash cow for Toyota. Don't get me wrong. The Tacoma and the 4Runner in their truck lineups are their bread and butter. They make them a lot of profit. And well, this one here has been going on for like 16, 17 years, it seems like. So they're making tons of money with this vehicle, right? It hadn't really changed, and the tech in it is just awful with today's standards, but it's an awesome vehicle. And I think, though, this is going to be pretty close to what we're going to see with this thing, and I hope so, because it looks like they've taken what the TRD Pro of the truck, and they've just kind of added a few features like those big kind of boxy looking fenders. You can see those there. And once again, I don't think we're going to go too nuts with the lights in the grill of this thing. The grill looks pretty much out of a Tacoma there, and so I think that's pretty close. But let's go over here to their website. Now, I want you to see this news is from July 30th of 2023. So we had a pretty good idea at this point. We had a pretty good idea with what the Tacoma was going to be like. So I don't think this is straying too far. And Toyota is a pretty conservative company. They don't like to offer 16 different motor options. I know the 4-liter is still in the current version of this, but that's just because why change? That was easy, low-hanging fruit. Once again, we're not going to go shoving new motors in this thing because why? Let's just keep stamping out this little cash cow, and I don't blame them for it. But they have a couple things here I want to talk about, and it talks here. The features are going to be similar to what they think the current Tacoma is, and doesn't challenge anything at all, right? Yeah, why would it not be? Because they've been similar in the past. Now, I do know that the 5th generation did get a mild refresh and a little bit more aggressive headlights, but over that, it really hasn't changed. And of course, the last Tacoma came out in 2016, so this is pretty much in line with the mid 16s, right? Like, nothing's really changed. So I do anticipate that we're going to see this new 4Runner kind of look pretty much like the Tacoma. Now, don't go too crazy, Toyota. Remember, make it generational. Keep some of the design characteristics, which we're going to show here in just a minute. But I think, like the pillar here, I know TRG John had a real good points on his video that he just dropped about this, where such a classic, iconic design for the brand makes total sense. And I've had some Sequoias in the past that I've owned, which had similar designs of a 4Runner. So I always liked how they put their badging on that pillar, and I don't know, it just kind of looked different from like the other brands. You had the Pathfinder at the time that was a kind of a rival to this, and then it turned into the Xterra, which was more of a rival to this thing. So I kind of like that Toyota has some classic characteristics that they're going to stick with. Now, it says here too, not too much is going to different styling than the current vehicle. I mean, obviously it's going to change in styling, but I think it's going to be more boxy, more aggressive looking, where their truck lineup currently is. Now, in the powertrains, there's a couple things down here. I don't think they're going to use this base 4-liter or 2.4-liter, making 228 horsepower. I think that would just be ridiculous. I think that would be so underpowered. And we do know that each generation of a new vehicle is getting heavier, and people always question why. Safety features, man. They want to shove so much safety features in these things, and wiring harnesses and everything are heavy, and it just continually adds weight to this. So I cannot see them wanting to use that at all. I just can't see them wanting to use that base 2.4 liter in this thing. But I can see more in the the iForce turbo with the manual transmission. I can see that all day long of them wanting to use that because I'm pretty sure they're going to get a manual transmission in this thing. Once again, conservative company, low hanging fruit. They do sell some. Why not put the manual transmission in this thing? Because there are some people that still like to do the old shifties and give them something. No other brand's going to do it, and you can you're already doing it in the truck lineup, so it's not costing you really much more to do it. So why not offer that in there? But I do think the horsepower for the manual transmission is just that's weak sauce, man. 270 horsepower, and I've said the same thing with Tacoma. I just think that me and TRD John were talking about this the other day on our midsize truck show that he joined me on last Saturday, and I just feel like Toyota needed to reach more of that 300 horsepower bar, but they're a conservative company. Quality means everything to them. They don't want to over exceed. Yeah, they could do maybe like I don't know if Ford with their Raptor engine is over exceeding what they think they can do with that engine, or if they're like, hey, no, we can build a quality engine that can hit 400 horsepower. Not that I want this thing to hit 400 horsepower, but I would like to see it in the 300 price, or not price range, but 300 kind of horsepower range. But is what it is. But I'm pretty sure that's going to be pretty spot on. And I think they'll offer this option probably as standard. This here is going to be your standard lineup with the 2.4 liter, 278 horsepower, making 317 foot-pounds of torque, which is that's not bad. The torque numbers are really good, and that's what you get with a small displacement turbo engine like that. And I know people get so upset about the turbo engines. Like, I don't want a turbo engine. I don't want these four cylinders, but they're constantly being forced by federal regulations to reduce emissions, and you have to keep losing cylinders. And I think in 10 years, we're going to see a two-cylinder engine at some point making 300 horsepower. I know Nissan had developed something like that, and I think that's going to be the future if you want it, till we're being forced into complete hybrids. So hopefully that's not the case, but that's kind of where I think the market's going to head. And then I think they will do like this. I think they will do basically the Tacoma spec as it says right there. 2.4 liter turbo hybrid making 326 horsepower and 465 freaking foot-pounds of torque in an 8-speed automatic transmission that's a hybrid system. Now, speaking of hybrids, I think that the way Toyota does hybrid systems is perfect for their trucks. But for this one here, I think they need to find some middle ground of, kind of what the Highlanders kind of is doing. I think they need to they're going to have to find a middle ground for fuel economy. Now, these things are heavy, especially the SUV versions of these things. They're just getting heavier and heavier. Once again, safety. But I think that the current one is making somewhere 16 to 17, 18 combined, maybe something like that, which is ridiculous. And I think this thing's going to have to hit mid 20s. I really do. So I think Toyota needs to somehow develop some sort of way to give you maybe less torque. I think 400 foot-pounds of torque would be great. And I think if you had 320 horsepower, 315 horsepower in this for their pro version or whatever that I think they're going to happen. I'm talking to you, Trail Hunter. I think that's coming. I think that would be more in line. But till we know, we don't know. Now, one thing here that they're speculating on, of course, this is old news, by the way. I do want you to understand that. This was before we found out that the Land Cruiser was coming. So they were talking about job one is expected around 2024. And job one means that's when the production line kicks in and they start building these for sale. But I think that's going to be pushed back because we know that the Land Cruiser is going to be out this spring. So that means job one's going to be somewhere probably March, April for that. Though they always say late spring, which means basically June. So there's no way they're going to start producing another vehicle in the same time. And I have a feeling it's good. They're probably producing the same plant in Japan, if I remember right. I don't hold me to that. I never follow the plants over in Japan that closely, but I would say that's where they have a good SUV plant that they build all the Lexus and stuff. I could be wrong, but I think that I do expect the job one does happen this year, but I'm looking more later towards probably October, November, maybe early December before they actually start producing the new 4Runner. So just keep that in mind. Remember, some of this is old news. I'm not sure what TFL and them had speculated on. They thought it might come, but I'm looking, kind of reading the tea leaves of how Toyota operates, and they like to generally do everything around November so they can get that late December deliveries for their dealers. So maybe that's how it'll happen. But we do know Tacoma right now has been delayed and delayed and delayed. So I think they're having some part issues. So now into some of the images here that they have, I think they're pretty close. And obviously you've seen the thumbnail, you know kind of what I think of that. And I think these are pretty close because once again, they don't want to spook their current owners, the current clients they have. They want to kind of keep it close to it. And we do know there's an overland crowd that just loves this thing. They just buy them and buy them and buy them. So you don't want to go too crazy. I guarantee it's going to have that big grill, the big chin that the current Tacoma has that pisses people off like crazy, which I have no idea why. Just take it off. But I guarantee it's going to have that because once again, it's going to have to meet some better fuel economy standards. But I think this is classic. This is great, man. You still get that kind of that pillar there. It looks great. You're getting the looks like the badging there. Kind of gives you the TRD Pro, the 4Runner badging, that kind of iconic look. We know it's gonna if it's gonna have the hybrid, it's gonna have the badging on the hood. Looks like it's gonna kinda looks like an aggressive hood. I would like actually this stamped in 4Runner, and I've told you guys on other vehicles, I'm kinda getting tired of that, but I kinda like that right there. The old school Toyota badging, I'm sure it's gonna get the LEDs like everything else in the lineup has for especially TRD Pro, but that doesn't look too bad, but this isn't the one I wanna focus in on because it says 4Runner right there and doesn't say anything over there. Now, once again, these are just speculative photos, so don't hold me to this, but they look at the color. These guys, whoever did this one, did a good job of thinking what a trail hunter. And I really think that the trail hunter will be coming to this lineup. And I think it's going to be every overlander's wet dream. I think look at the snorkel. This is definitely taken from the current look of the trail hunter Tacoma. And I think that makes sense for them to want to do that. The green look of this, obviously, some of the aggressive nature of this. All will it, will it be the link suspension in the rear? I'm pretty sure it will be. Look, you can see little steps here. Everything about this screams trail hunter. And I think that would be big for Toyota because they've really, in the past, they've kind of given you kind of a little bit what you want. And they know aftermarket will take care of everything else, but they're wanting to get into that aftermarket money. And with a roof rack like this, I don't see this big bulge coming out there like that, kind of like what the current TRD Pro version is doing. But I do think they'll offer some racks like this, and I think it would look great. Those wheels look great, but there's no way those are going to ever be factory wheels that look like that. But overall, I think this gives me a pretty good glimpse into what Toyota is going to offer. And I'm curious in the comments below. Let me know what you think about this. Are you interested in the new 4Runner? Are you excited by it? Like a lot of the off-road people are. This is you want to go to Moab, something like that. You want to do that, kind of go long distance camping. It's been a fun vehicle in the past. And I have no reason to think it won't be a fun vehicle in the future. So let me know. Let me know your specs too. What would you like to see out of this vehicle? Obviously, the V6 is dead. So I know V6 guy. I always get comments when we talk about Toyota products. I'm not buying it because they don't offer the V6, but I think you'll come around to it when you start seeing people building this and you start seeing it climbing, rocks, whatever you want to do with this thing. I think that's going to sway your opinion. Be like, you know what? I need to have one. I got to build one myself. So comments below, you know what to do. So whether it be 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, or this 4Runner, I really, really want to drive. It's been your All Terrain Nation. I'm your host, David Boyd, and we're out. Peace, everybody. Love y'all.